someone is wondering about a situation where they're thinking, I think I need some angelic intervention in my life, what do I have to be open to certain things, or where should I be focused? And my recommendation biblically is not on angels. Not on angels. The focus is on Jesus Christ and his will and the instructions that are given in the New Testament.
There are a great number of people that are overwhelmed by the contrast to the support and compassion and care and concern that comes from a guardian angel, an angel of goodness, all of those kinds of things. And then there's the contrast of the spirit of evil in the world that can overwhelm us. I know there's a popularity of things angelic. There's a popularity to angels because it's so comforting. It's such a pleasant and relieving thought.
When facing a hard and difficult time, I think we go straight to God and we ask and we say, Lord, I need the skill to navigate through this. God says, Paul's writing to the believers at Philippi, be anxious for nothing. And when we're having difficult times, that's usually what we are, is anxious. When we're anxious, he doesn't direct us to angels. He directs us to talking to him. And it says the peace of Christ. Notice he doesn't say the circumstances are going to change, but he says that the peace of Christ is going to give us calmness in the midst of that situation.
There's a struggle inside of us between the influence of evil and the hopefully the stronger influence of good. And we are trying to listen from one to the other. I don't believe that the angel of evil, nor can we be forced to do good when it's against our will. The mystery of our creation, in this order of creation, is that we have to execute our freedom appropriately, to choose good. Evil cannot take away your free will. That's a profound belief from my faith tradition. It can exert a great deal of influence and distraction, but ultimately we need to be strong interiorly because of the faith that we have.
Reform Judaism traditionally does not have a concept of angelology, yet one of the prayers that all Jewish movements, including Reform Judaism, does on a Friday night service is that of Shalom Aleichem. And Shalom Aleichem is all about angelology and about welcoming in angels and on Shabbat, on our Sabbath, and having those angels bring peace onto us. And what this might be a concept of is that the Talmud teaches that every person, when they leave a synagogue and go home on Shabbat, is carrying two angels with them, a good angel and a bad angel. And we might interpret this as what we call in Judaism the Yetzer HaTov, the inclination to do good, and the Yetzer Hara, the inclination to do bad. And if you think back to a cartoon you might have seen as a child, where you have a good angel dressed in white with a halo over its head, and then another angel that looks like a devil or something like this, that would be the Yetzer HaTov and the Yetzer Hara. And whether that's an angel or not, I don't know, but we have to listen to that inclination to do good.
There's a passage in the New Testament that I think is very helpful to us on an ongoing, regular, in fact, daily basis as we think about the fact that there is a spiritual realm. And this passage is in Ephesians chapter 6. Paul is writing starting at verse 10. He says, finally, be strong in the Lord. And be strong is a command, a Greek imperative, and in the strength of his might. And that sounds good, and it's like, okay, great, I'd like to do that. How do I do that? Well, I think he goes on to tell us how to do that. He says in verse 11, put on, that's another command, the full armor of God, so that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. So notice he's acknowledging the spiritual realm here in terms of what's happening, and he does it even more clearly in the next verse, for he says, He says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places," which is a fascinating passage. It says we are smack dab in the middle of spiritual battle in terms of what's going on.
At any given moment, we have an inclination to do good or an inclination to do bad. I walk into a shop and the shopkeepers inadvertently left a $20 bill on the table. Do I take it or do I not take it? And I know what the right thing to do is, which is to not take it. And so we have to listen to that voice too. And in our Jewish practice on Shabbat, during one of our prayers, we learn that we're supposed to put our feet together as we pray. And the idea is that in doing so, we are standing as an angel would stand before God.
It's fragile because of the complexity of a human person. What do we believe has happened at times? What do we believe an experience means? I as well find these stories that people have, and they tell with great commitment and truth, the near-death experiences. Is that an angelic experience? Many of the things are similar. It's associated with light. It's associated with a sense of peace. It's associated with a sense of calm and beauty and reconciliation. It's a beautiful experience. If someone came to me and said, I would love to have an angelic experience, or I'm seeking one, or I'm hoping for one, I'd say what I perhaps say in many different ways. I don't think you find them by searching. I think you find them by living the best kind of life that you can live. And angels would certainly accompany that kind of life.
And so perhaps that's how we encounter angels, is we don't go out looking for angels, but we try to emulate them ourselves.